Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Rane Holdings Limited Q3 FY21 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Diwakar Pingle from Christensen IR. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rio. Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the Q3 FY21 earnings call of the Rane Group. To take you through the results and answer your questions today, we have the management team from the Rane Group, represented by Mr. L. Ganesh, the Chairman and Managing Director, Harish Lakshman, Vice Chairman of Rane Holdings Limited, P.A. Padmanabhan, President Finance and Group CFO, Siva Chandrasekaran, Executive Vice President of Secretarial and Legal Services, and Ajay Anand, who is the CFO of Rane Holdings Limited. Please note that we have sent you the press release, and also we have sent you the presentation link of the deck of all the companies. In case any of you have not received the presentation, you could look at it on the website or even the BSE site of Rane, or you could write to us and we'll be happy to send the detailed earnings presentation over to you. Before I start, I would like to state that anything that we say in this call that reflects any outlook for the future or which can be construed as a forward-looking statement must be viewed in conjunction with the risks and uncertainties that we face. These uncertainties and risks are included but not limited to what we mentioned in the prospectus and subsequently in the annual reports which you can find on our website. With that said, I'll hand over the call to Mr. Ganesh. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Diwakar. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for dialing in. I would like to welcome you all for this conference. Wishing you all at the outset a very happy new year in 2021. I hope that the worst of the COVID-19 is over for India and other parts of the world, and we can expect normalcy in our lives in a few months from now. You would have seen the Q3 FY21 performance highlights of the group companies posted on our website. I would like to just provide a few comments on the industry. Q3 has been a good quarter with favorable demand environment across vehicle segments in India. This was better than anticipated recovery in the domestic automotive industry. The Indian economy, except certain sectors like travel and tourism, seem to have recovered well. As you are aware, the GDP estimate for India immediately after the initial lockdown was being talked about as something like minus 11%. Now the estimate is minus 7%, which is heartening. Based on the effect and this recovery, the auto industry achieved pre-COVID levels in Q3 in most of the segments. To compare the group's performance vis-a-vis the market, let me share a few details with you. In the passenger vehicle segment, the group had a slightly less growth than the industry due to the growth in the unserved models, particularly utility vehicle segment. In the LCV, new business for steering gear from Rane resulted in a higher growth. In the M&HCV segment, better growth than industry was due to increased share of business and higher growth in multi-axle vehicle where we had a higher pack value. The growth in the farm tractor segment, our growth was better than the industry due to new business for power steering and cylinders. The lower growth in the two-wheeler segment is because again growth in the unserved market. At the market segment level, 69% of our revenue was contributed by Indian OE segment and the international segment was about 21%. Better than expected growth in the Indian OE resulted in a change in the sales mix for this quarter. With these few comments, I will hand it over to Harish for his comments and then review of Q3 performance.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'll just take a few minutes in talking about the performance of the various group companies. But overall, as Mr. Ganesh said, we saw a robust demand environment in the automotive industry thanks to the opening up of the economy gradually after COVID, and also the support of the festive season across all the vehicle segments. The plant operations across the group effectively handled the production ramp up despite some challenges in our supply chain and also availability of labor. The group companies continue to prioritize on cost reduction measures pursued to minimize the impact on account of COVID during our first quarter. Overall, at a group level, the total revenue grew by 26% during this quarter, and revenue from the Indian OE customers grew by 28%. The revenue from international customers also had a healthy growth rate of 28%, supported by strong offtake from our occupant safety business in Rane TRW and the new business for steering products in Rane Madras. The revenue from aftermarket segment also increased by 8% during the quarter. The EBITDA margin improved by 275 bps on our cost and fixed cost reduction vis-a-vis the Q3 of last year. The aggregate PBT was 58.9 crores compared to a loss of 15.7 crores in Q3 of FY20. The RML standalone revenue increased by 42%. The sales to Indian OE customers grew by 37% and international customers by 82%, supported by increase in schedules for steering and light metal casting products. Sales to aftermarket also increased by 14%. The cost reduction initiatives and the higher volume helped to mitigate the unfavorable mix and some of the commodity increases that we had to face during the quarter. The light metal casting India business is beginning to see good traction with new orders. In Q3, we won orders worth rupees 32 crores per annum from various customers, both international and domestic. The US subsidiary, LMCA, continued to face challenges on the volumes, vehicle demand, and the continued impact of COVID. Despite operational improvement, the drop in sales resulted from the US subsidiary. In Rane Engine Valves, the revenues increased by 11.6%, supported by robust demand from the OE customers. EBITDA margins increased by 383 bps on account of lower employee expenses and reduction in fixed costs and higher volume. We also had an exceptional item of about 23.5 crores, which includes an income from profit on sale of land. And we also had some VRS related expenses of about 46 lakhs. In Rane Brake Lining, we experienced a 2.3% increase in total revenue. The sales to OE grew by 8% and the aftermarket by 3%. Here also the lower employee cost and fixed cost savings resulted in margin improvement. There was also a provision reversal on account of better collection in this quarter, whereas there was a one-off provision for bad debts during the previous quarter. As a result of this, there is a higher increase that you see in Rane Brake Lining. In Rane TRW, our revenue grew 30%. The growth was supported by strong offtake and higher share of business for steering products in Indian commercial vehicle segment. The occupant safety products also experienced higher offtake from international customers. Again, here also better fixed cost leverage resulted in margin improvement. At Rane LSK, the revenue again had a healthy increase of 26%. This was supported by strong offtake in several models from Maruti. Better fixed costs resulted in margin improvement here as well. Based on the current warranty claim trend, we have provided an incremental amount of about 49.3 crores towards warranty. Looking forward, the demand environment remains robust, barring some volatility in customer schedule due to the supply chain constraints, including the semiconductor, etc. We are definitely experiencing significant inflationary pressure on material costs, and the group companies continue to pursue cost reduction initiatives as well as seeking increases from our customers. With these remarks, we will now open for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Shyam Sundar Sriram from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good afternoon. This is Shyam Sundar from Sundaram Mutual Fund. So thanks very much for taking my question, sir. So my first question is on NSK. We are seeing elevated levels of provisioning even compared to last quarter per se, and these being actual replacement of steering systems do result in actual cash outflows. Just my question is, sir, how much would have has our net worth in Rane NSK as an entity come down from FY18? We think it could be around 100 odd crores. And does that impact our ability to grow the Rane NSK business? If you can provide some your thoughts and perspective on that, and how do we look at the overall provisioning per se? So that is the first question, sir.
Yeah, go ahead with the second question. Just looking up some of the numbers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And for you've also talked about the new LSK order of 22 crores per annum. Is this from Maruti or any other new OEM that we have added under the NSK umbrella? That was the second question with respect to NSK, sir. And any commodity inflationary, how much have we been able to pass through in terms of the underlying commodity inflation pressures? If you can talk about
that. In terms of RNS's warranty, the increase in provision, yes, the claim trends are still kind of at a high level. Both NSK and ourselves have predicted that not much of significant provision will be required sometime 6 months ago, but obviously it is going. It is still related to periods of 1917-18 production. So after the countermeasures, we are not getting too much of warranty claim, insignificant. So it is the whole production, but still the numbers have somewhat surprised us, to be honest. Therefore, we have made this provision. In terms of net worth, the net worth has gone down, obviously, to that extent, 30 crores. By about 30 crores compared to 31st March. So that's not a significant problem for us. The issue is, in the short term, it upsets the working capital cycle, as we kind of pay off these claims. So we have the borrowing ability in the balance sheet, so we are arranging working capital funds so that day-to-day operations, which are also growing, is not affected. But hopefully, we should see the end of this sometime in this year, 2021, and thereafter it should not have any impact on the growth prospects of this business. That's second. The third is commodity increase across the business, not only in RNSS but other companies, as Harish mentioned. So we are kind of back to back trying to pass it on to the customers, and we will with a time lag. But yes, commodity prices are going up at an extraordinary rate. So this is a matter of concern.
Sir, on the new order win in NSK, the 22 crore per annum order win, is this from Maruti itself or any other OEM that we have been added here? And when does this order begin execution?
Yeah, it is from Maruti. Obviously, we can't disclose the model name, etc.
Okay, understood, sir. Sir, and in TRW, sir, we have spoken about a new production lines being added at Trichy. for the seat belt and airbag. So these are we are also exporting to ZF from there. So far, just trying to understand how much have you invested in this Trichy plant, sir, including the first phase and now? And on the steering side, you have mentioned we have increased share of business. Is it because of competition ZF not being able to supply on time, or any other reasons behind that from a steering perspective?
So the first question, yeah, the investments that are happening in Trichy, the addition of lines is for both export as well as for domestic. Did you ask for a specific investment number? How much we have invested?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So far, how much have you invested, including the first phase?
We'll just see if we can pull the data out. But in the meantime, I'll answer your question on steering. On the steering side, the growth, the increase in the share of business is because of partly our competitor not being able to supply, and more importantly because when the vehicle moved to BS6, there was some engineering work that we have to do on the steering side as well. So we have been ahead of competition in completing all our engineering work prior to April 2020, before the BS6 launch started. So we were better prepared technically to support all our customers. So that has also helped increase our share. One second.
Sir, and what is the current market share in the MHCV steering, sir?
You are asking in total commercial vehicle segment, including small, light, medium, etc.?
No. Whatever we supply from the TRW perspective, what will be your market share, sir?
Yeah, that's what. So I'll be answering you by combining SCV, LCV, M and SCV. Everything put together will be about 60% of the market.
60% of the market. Understood, sir. Sir, and sir, while you are pulling out that investment number on the compulsory dual airbag measure that has come out, sir, we understand that key customers, M&M, Ford, mostly have all models with 2 airbags, except maybe Bolero may not have. So with respect to this regulation, have you received any new inquiries for the airbags from other customers, maybe Maruti or other some Hyundai or so? At least as a second supplier per se, how are we seeing that? And if you can provide the split between occupant safety and the steering for the quarter.
So as far as the regulation is concerned, Shamsundar, the regulation, we knew it was coming, and as you rightly said, even before the regulation, 70% of the passenger cars in India were already having passenger airbags and driver airbags. So it is only the lower level model in a Brezza or Espresso or WagonR where Maruti or other OEMs were offering a model with only driver airbag. Now what will happen is those models will just go away, and now the base model itself will become the next model which has driver and passenger car airbag. So therefore there is no direct inquiry as a result of this regulation. But the OEMs were always aware this regulation was coming, so future models anyway it was being planned with driver and passenger. That is as far as your first question is concerned on split between steering and the OSD for the quarter. What is the split? And by the way, unfortunately, the investment number is not readily available, just the Trichy investment.
Okay, no problem.
So one second, I will tell you your other question. SGD, OSD. SGD, OSD. For the quarter, yeah. So the steering division had a revenue of 155 crores for the quarter, and the occupant safety had 174.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, one question is please on TRW exports, sir. Sequentially, there seems to be a drop there. Is this because of some catch-up that happened in second quarter, which is now normalizing, or is it because of some container availability issues that we are not able to?
So it's a combination of 2-3 things. One is some inventory correction at customers' end. That is one reason. Some COVID-related delays, as well as some container issues. So everything put together, there was a slowdown in the quarter, but it is temporary. There's nothing else alarming in the underlying business that has changed.
Okay. Understood, sir. I'll call back with you. I'll come back later. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we'd like to request participants that in order that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we request you to rejoin the queue. We take the next question from the line of Sunil Kothari from Unique Portfolio Management. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. And hearty congratulations for after a very long time, we are able to provide a very, very, very good set of numbers and profitability. Sir, my question is, this quarter has surprised everybody. We auto component supply like us, exports market, some orders which you were speaking previously, and now it is materializing, maybe related to rack and pinion, this steering products, joints, and die casting also. So my question is, sir, with this challenging time which we faced during last 1 or 2, 3 years, how prepared we are for maybe a positive scenario in terms of exports, international inquiries, domestic demand picking up? Maybe Korean players are very positive about passenger vehicles. BharatBenz is speaking a lot positively about heavy commercial vehicles. So largely my question is related to Rane Madras. So broadly covering all these things, what possibility of positivity and how prepared we are?
Okay. In terms of preparedness, as you know, we in the initial part of this year we had completely frozen all capex, and then gradually started releasing the capex in the second and third quarters based on specific programs. So in some products we are now coming towards that threshold of 85 to 90% capacity utilization. So with the next year plan around the corner, 21-22, we will plan appropriate capex to catch up wherever, because of the good orders, as you said, which you have got, and we are on the threshold of capacity 85 to 90%. We have started doing the homework, and wherever necessary, we'll build that into the next year plan of capex.
Great, sir. And sir, previously, some 2, 3, 4 years back, we were expecting some very big orders from international markets, and slowly we started receiving in a small basis. So if you can throw some light on this rack and pinion and ball joints opportunity globally, because we are a very globally competitive player, which is already proven by some consulting agency, and we already spoken about this. So if you can little bit, maybe a little bit a long-term viewpoint of view in terms of this die casting opportunity from India and these 2 other products.
Yeah. So as far as the steering rack and pinion opportunity is concerned, Sunil, the good news is we have started shipments last quarter. So just before last quarter, towards the end of Q2, we started, which is why I think I had also mentioned in Rane Madras, we are seeing almost an 82% increase in exports vis-a-vis last year. So that has been a positive development. That is a large rack and pinion order which has started, and it is increasing month on month. We are in the ramp-up phase right now. On the die casting side also, the order booking as well as revenue, there has been new order booking for the next 12 to 24 months, as well as some orders that we secured last year have gone into production, which is why even the casting business, I think, has almost doubled compared to Q3 of last year, correct? The LMCA has almost, there's been a 60, there's been a 70% growth in the casting business. So overall, I think we are, cautiously, but definitely optimistic about the India casting business, because we were struggling for the last 2, 3 years with order booking, and now we are seeing clear visibility with whatever orders we have in hand as well as what is on the pipeline, that whatever investments we have made in the assets will be completely utilized in the next 18 months. So we will see that translating into the margins of that business. And on ball joints, we have already secured a lot of orders during 2020, and many of those programs will go into production in 2021. So overall, we are optimistic about Rane Madras, both steering and casting, based on the domestic market, if the domestic market continues in this way, and some of the new exports orders we have secured.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Venkat Subramaniam from Organic Capital. Please go ahead.
Opportunity. Lot of the bad news with respect to our US subsidiary is there in the numbers. What kind of positivity are you seeing? We also know that last quarter numbers were not all that interesting in terms of volume. What are the silver linings that you see there, and how is it unfolding there?
So even as we mentioned in the past calls, we had two problems there. One was the operational performance of that business, which today I can say is probably contributing to 20 to 25% of the problem, and the remaining 75% problem is with the order book. The operational problems, I think we are making steady improvement month on month compared to 15 months ago. The kind of inefficiency that we had in operations versus now what we see, there is a good improvement. Having sent a team of about 5 people from India over the last 18 months is definitely paying dividends. Unfortunately, the order book has been very unsatisfactory. Partly we couldn't get some orders, and partly there has been delay due to COVID. And the COVID is right now hurting because we've made investments. As you know, we invested about $8 million about 15 months ago for two new programs with 2 different customers. Both have gotten delayed because of COVID. So therefore, the situation is bad, and it will continue to be this way for another 5-6 months, after which we will start to see marginal improvement because these new programs kick in. As far as the silver lining is concerned, as I said, we have said in earlier calls, we are still reviewing the future opportunities for this business, what it entails, and what it means for Rane. So later part of this year, we will come back on the future for that business.
On some of the larger vehicle, class 5 trucks, etc., there has been a fairly significant uptick. On the addressable markets for our operations, how is the market addressable opportunity per se? We heard that the 2 customers have had delays, etc.
Right.
What is the status with respect to them and the market opportunity as well?
Almost the entire automotive business of our US subsidiary is in the passenger car segment, but the utility vehicle, not in the car segment. So, which is a good thing. So, almost all the models that we supply to is going into utility vehicles in US, which is doing reasonably well. Of course, there has been a COVID impact, but the general outlook is that the market is going to pick up again. But we are not in the class. We don't have any business in the commercial vehicle segment. As far as that delay is concerned, it is just a postponement of program launches by the customer because of COVID. What was supposed to start in November, December, they have pushed it by about 4 or 5 months. There's no other threat to the business or anything like that.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Goyal from Enam. Please go ahead. Mr. Manish Goyal from Enam Holdings, you may go ahead with the question.
Hello. Can you hear?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sir, on the Rane NSK, on the warranty provisions, maybe if you can just clarify that why the provision levels have increased. Did you refer to some provisions related to 2017-18 models? It was not clear. So if you can highlight that, and also we'd like to know going forward, what can we expect?
So, now 2 things I wanted to clarify. One is the NSK had used certain models, statistical models, to forecast what could be the claims, and based on that we had made the earlier provision. And even I had made a mention in one of the conferences about 9 months or 12 months ago that we don't expect any further significant provisions. But unfortunately, that model has not really worked out, and the claims have been more than what even NSK forecasted. That is one. The other point I was making was the positive thing is that although the numbers have increased, those claims are all referring to a period before the countermeasures were put in place. So still relate to the production of the 2017-2018. When they reach the mileage, they give a problem and they are replacing. After the countermeasures date, such a problem is very, very minuscule. So hopefully, that's why I said we should see the end of this sometime this year. I'm not able to exactly tell you because once we forecasted using a model, we are continuously watching this. So hopefully this year we should see the end of this sometime this year.
So, sir, have we, in last call, we had mentioned that we have identified the problem and are looking to rectify it. So, what is the status on that now?
So, all that has been completed. As I said, the countermeasures have been put in place, and all the claims which are coming even now are related to a period of production before the countermeasure. By end of 18, we have completed all the countermeasures, 2018.
Okay, so now the dispatches what we are doing right now is with the corrected steering system, and on this we don't foresee any future liability coming up.
We are not seeing any big numbers, very, very insignificant, which is a normal warranty. Even less than that we are seeing after the countermeasures.
Okay, so ideally this quarter provision is largely due to some higher than expected numbers which were modeled and also related to before the countermeasure. So
correct.
Going forward in Q3, Q4, the provision number ideally should not be large provision, maybe small number.
We are hoping so, yes. Yes, that is our expectation. Let's see.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from Sunil Kothari from Unique Portfolio Management. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Just one more question is on, sir, we being a very cost conscious, very cost conservative technically also. So how prepared we are to see this raw material cost escalation or cost price increasing, and what the scope to improve the margin in Danya Madras, which we achieved at a very really respectable level. But looking at many other auto ancillaries also, everybody has taken a very good jump in operating profitability. So how sustainable this, and which other cost measures we have scope to improve this margin?
Yeah. So, no, this is actually, Sunil, this is going to be a real challenge in the coming quarters to maintain this kind of margin for a couple of reasons. One, of course, this commodity increase we have to get from our customers. There is no way we can absorb it. And as you probably know, just by the commodity increase, let's say our material cost is 50 rupees on a sale of 100. Now, if the material cost increases by 5 rupees, the best case we can get from our customer is 5. So it becomes 55 by 105. Automatically, the contribution margin drops a little bit. So that base impact itself we are going to face. Over and above that, the other challenge is, we took some extraordinary measures to cut costs during COVID times, now including salary reduction, etc. So all that we are now reinstating. So, replicating the same, while definitely we have also learned a lot of new things thanks to COVID on how to save costs for the future. Not all costs that we could save in the past we'll be able to do in the future. So net, margins are going to be under enormous pressure. Having said that, the silver lining is volume. So if the market continues to be strong throughout 2021, that volume growth can partially offset some of this to try and see, where we can keep our margins.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. A reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Raja Kumar V, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Thanks for the opportunity and congrats for the good set of numbers. Sir, I have a couple of questions. So the first one is relating to the Rani Metals US subsidiary. I was just going through the numbers. I see, just the employee cost alone, I think if you see the 9 months in the current year, that is almost equal to your top line. So given that US has a very flexible labor policy, so why we have not planned any employee-related rationalization given the poor demand scenario in the subsidiary? And also, is there a way we could, can we not service those customers from India? Can we not go and export? Have we explored that option?
Sorry, what is the second question?
No, it is an extension of the first question. Did we look at migrating the operations from US to India for the Rani Metals subsidiary? Is that a possibility?
Okay. Let me try to answer. A little bit of problem in the audio. So in terms of salary cost, yes, you're right. It's very high in the US. So based on the impact of volume, what we have done is we have reduced the headcount significantly. But in terms of white collar there, as it is, we are having very few people. We have something like 30 plus people in the white collar, including the management, everything. So there's not much we could do there, and that is where the technical competence, etc., was there, which one cannot lose. So in terms of direct operators on the shop floor, we have reduced the numbers, and as these new programs kick in, we will again take them on board. But overall, the flexibility of the cost in the US is much less than what it is in India for temporary volume shift. That is a problem there. The second is shifting some of that here. See, the whole strategy why we went to the US and acquired this was that some customers were wanting to buy locally in the US. So that was one of the main assumptions, and they were willing to pay a slight premium for that, which will offset to some extent the higher labor cost there. So that shifting it to India may not directly apply. We are really seeing which of the customers would really want to buy there, which is still happening. Some of the new orders that we have got are all from customers who want local supplies in the US.
Okay. Sir, my worry is we have pumped in almost close to 200 crores into that subsidy, and that subsidy needs further money. So, it's kind of dragging the market cap of Rani Metals. So, I was wondering if the situation in India turned out to be bad, then, I don't know how you would have managed this year. If India also does loss and US also lost, then, the Rani Metals will be a penny stock. I'm really worried and concerned. Thank God that, our operations in India turned around. But I think we need to be really watchful on the US part. We should not be throwing good money after bad money. That's my
Absolutely. That is the reason why we are taking a very close look at this business. And as Harish mentioned earlier, by middle of this year, we will have a strategy for this business. We are aware of what you're saying. Absolutely. Agree with you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Manish Goyal from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Sir, just want to clarify in the presentation, particularly Rani Metals, we have mentioned about couple of orders. So just want to clarify that even in Q2 presentation, you had mentioned about couple of orders in rack and pinion and light metal casting. So I believe that these are separate orders, like it's not a repetition of Q3 into Q4, right?
No. These are new orders. So that's why I had mentioned earlier also, Manish, the order booking in the last 2 quarters, both in domestic market and in international market for Rane Madras has been good, both on the steering side as well as on the casting side, both in Q2 and in Q3. And all of this will go into production
Okay. So light metal casting, ideally, as earlier we had mentioned that our peak revenue potential can be 170-180 crores. So that is something which we can achieve in FY22, next full year.
In next financial year, yes. Yes,
Okay.
we will achieve.
And ideally, what kind of margin should we look at in that business, sir?
I mean, as I've told in the past also, Manish, I think definitely a 12.5% EBITDA is possible in that business. Of course, dollar has to continue at that 73 plus.
Sure. And in Rane Brake, there was certain reversal of provisions in the current, and we had a one-off provision in last year Q3. So can you give both the numbers? What was the reversal and what was the provision in the last quarter, last year Q3?
Total impact, positive impact was about 3.8 crores.
3.8. 2 crore was last year, and this year 1.8 crore.
Totally about 3.8 crores.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Samant Singh from TPF Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. My questions are around Rane Brake Linings. Out of the 2.3% revenue growth, could I get the breakdown between volume growth and value growth?
Volume and value growth in RBL. I'm not sure whether we'll have that ready here. We'll just try one.
Value growth.
I'm afraid we don't have that ready-made with us now.
Okay. And so in terms of just cost pass-through, could you just talk about the difference between being able to pass through raw material inflation with the OEM customers versus the aftermarket?
Well, our idea will be to pass through both in the OEM and aftermarket. And we are kind of already alerted the customers. So as the commodity prices, the first round of discussions have already started with the customers. So our idea would be to, in the aftermarket, we are not taking a call, but I guess if the commodity prices sustain like this, we'll have to do both OEM and aftermarket.
Okay. And on average, what is the sort of margin our distributors get in the aftermarket?
Really don't know. It varies because they don't fully disclose. We just set sales targets for them, and then they get some turnover-based discounts. If they achieve 100 crores, they get 2% discount. So that kind of a scheme. How much margin they make, we wouldn't know.
So if there's significant inflation, I mean, do we increase our target levels as well? Because
of course, as Mr. Ganesh said, for 100% sure we are going to be increasing the prices in the aftermarket. Usually, the respective companies take a call on the date of increase based on past orders. That confusion is always there. Like an FMCG product, because we have back orders. There is inventory across the dealerships. So what date to increase the price without, by at the same time minimizing the impact on our dealers and distributors. So that call the respective companies take based on conversations with them. So all those discussions are underway right now, but we will definitely be increasing the aftermarket prices as well as the OE prices.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. The next question is from the line of Venkat Subramaniam from Organic Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my question again. The question again is on the US subsidiary Farani Madras. With a change in administration in US, is there less pressure on domestic sourcing, and therefore are there further headwinds just now for that operation?
Sorry, sir, can you repeat?
No, I'm saying in the previous administration, they were inward looking and lack of it was anti-globalization and a lot of pressure on local sourcing within companies that were headquartered in USA.
Right.
So with the change of administration, is there less localization there, and therefore does it work against us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, even now Biden, one of the things that Make in America, some program he's also launched recently, and the largest country where this conflict is with China, and that seems to be continuing as of now, even under the new administration. So I don't think there is going to be a shift as a result of that. But having said that, the competitive forces that is continuing. The ability to source a casting from US versus Mexico versus India, Korea. So that competition is always there. Whereas the China thing is still in favor net.
Right. And in previous calls, you had kind of mentioned that customers still insist on American products but at closer to Indian cost, etc. So to that extent, again, pricing power is still a worry, or we are probably likely to get reasonable prices now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we will only take on business that makes financial sense. So while customers may ask for that, we are never going to agree. But the challenge that we have been facing is that we have not been able to, as you all, if you go back and see the numbers 3 years, we were a $30 million business, and we were hoping to grow it to about 36 million, whereas we dropped to 25 last year, and this year because of COVID, and zero sales for 1 quarter, it's going to be even lower. The struggle that we are having is to get back to that $34 million top line. So that is the challenge that we are grappling with.
Understood, sir. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Participants who wish to ask questions, please press star and 1. The next question is from Raja Kumar V, who's an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks for taking the follow-up. Sir, the question is on the warranty provision. So, given that this provision has been growing, despite your comments last year, I just want to can't we not front load this provision so that go forward our results will clean and it's easier to comprehend and for the markets to understand. And second thing, this warranty, because of this issue, have you increased your normal warranty provision costs on the ongoing business?
First question I couldn't hear. The second question is, no, the normal warranty is for all other parts, etc., continues to be at a reasonable level for which we make provisions. So this is an extraordinary item for which this provision is being made only for this particular problem. The first question I didn't hear. The audio is not clear.
Yeah. No. So the first question is, can we not front load the warranty claim provision so that we are done with the provisioning cycle? Because you said that you are going to be done with this by 2020. So did we not look at front loading this provision, given that the number has been kind of volatile for the last few quarters?
Are you saying that why not you provide for once and for all?
Yeah, that's correct.
See, the problem is numbers, as I've been trying to tell you. There is a lot of sophisticated statistical model was used by our partners NSK, and together we try to use that model and do a provisioning, but that model has also not worked. So the actual claims have gone ahead of this model. So they are again redoing this model, etc. So we are not able to exactly predict the numbers The period we know, but the numbers we are not able to predict. That is the reason why the provision started this quarter.
So do you see similar number for the fourth quarter? You provided 29 crores as our share.
We don't know as yet. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder once again to participants that you may press star and 1 to join the question queue. As there are no further questions, I'd like to hand the conference back to the management team for closing comments.
Thank you very much, and we wish you all a very safe 21, and we hope that this momentum will continue, and with the budget, which seems to be very encouraging, 21-22 will be a good year ahead for the automotive industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Rane Holdings Limited, that concludes the conference. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You may now disconnect your lines.